Mark Consuelos has just made a jaw-dropping confession about what could happen if he and Kelly Ripa ever got divorced, and the reason has absolutely nothing to do with money, property, fame, or even their 3 children. Instead, Mark revealed that there is one member of the family he would apparently refuse to give up. During a recent episode of Live with Kelly and Mark, the longtime couple found themselves discussing divorce and pet custody, and Mark took the conversation to an unexpectedly hilarious place. He joked that he would actually remain in a loveless marriage with Kelly if it meant he could stay close to their beloved dog, Lena. Now, before anyone starts thinking this is some secret divorce announcement, let's make one thing very clear. There is no confirmed divorce between Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos. The couple are still married, and they recently celebrated an enormous milestone, 30 years of marriage. Mark's comment was made jokingly during a conversation about a proposed Pennsylvania law concerning what happens to pets when couples separate. But the wording was so dramatic that it immediately became the kind of celebrity moment people could not stop talking about. And Kelly's response made the whole situation even more hilarious. The conversation centered around the idea of pet custody during divorce, something that is becoming an increasingly serious issue for couples who consider their animals members of the family. The proposed Pennsylvania legislation would give courts more ability to consider the welfare of a companion animal when deciding who should care for it after a breakup. That topic prompted Kelly and Mark to imagine what would happen if they ever found themselves in that situation. And when Lena entered the conversation, Mark made it very clear that he was emotionally attached. He basically suggested that losing Kelly might be survivable, but losing Lena would be another story entirely. Mark's exact joke was that he would stay in a loveless marriage just to remain near Lena, and Kelly, instead of being offended, immediately played along with the ridiculous hypothetical. Her response was simply, "Done." That one-word reaction perfectly captured the couple's sense of humor. Rather than turning the conversation into something uncomfortable, they treated it like another opportunity to tease each other. And honestly, after 30 years of marriage, Kelly and Mark have become experts at turning even the most dramatic subjects into comedy. But who exactly is Lena, and why is Mark apparently willing to sacrifice his imaginary romantic happiness for her? Lena is the Maltese and Shih Tzu mix that Kelly and Mark adopted in 2021 after seeing her featured during a pet segment. Over the years, Lena has become a much-loved member of the Consuelos family. She has appeared in their social media posts and has become part of the family's everyday life. And considering what happened to their previous dog, Chewy, the emotional attachment to Lena makes even more sense. Chewy sadly passed away in 2025, and Kelly was deeply emotional when speaking about the loss. Chewy had been with the family for years and had witnessed some of the biggest moments of their lives. The dog was there while their children were growing up and became part of the memories Kelly and Mark created together. Losing a pet after so many years can feel like losing a member of the family, and the family's love for Lena has clearly remained incredibly strong. So when Mark jokes that he would fight to stay close to Lena, there is probably a little bit of genuine affection hiding underneath the comedy. The timing of this confession is also fascinating because Kelly and Mark have spent the last year repeatedly proving that their relationship is anything but ordinary. They met back in 1995 on the set of All My Children, where they played romantic interests. Their on-screen chemistry quickly became a real-life romance, but their love story was not completely smooth. They actually broke up briefly before getting back together, and then, in classic Kelly and Mark fashion, they made a decision that shocked almost everyone around them. They eloped in Las Vegas on May 1st, 1996, after knowing each other for a relatively short period of time. 30 years later, that spontaneous decision is still going strong. In May 2026, Kelly and Mark celebrated their 30th wedding anniversary, and their comments about the milestone were incredibly affectionate. Kelly described marrying Mark as the smartest and best decision she had ever made in her life. Mark, meanwhile, reflected on the advice he received from his father about finding someone who would make him a better person. He has repeatedly credited Kelly with helping him grow, and their anniversary conversations made it clear that despite all their jokes about divorce, they remain deeply connected. That's why Mark's latest comment is so easy to misunderstand when you only see the headline. The words loveless marriage and divorce dealbreaker sound like the beginning of a celebrity breakup story. But once you hear the full context, the reality is completely different. Mark was not confessing that his marriage to Kelly is loveless. He was making a joke about how much he loves their dog. Kelly understood the joke immediately, and instead of getting defensive, she essentially gave him permission to choose Lena in this imaginary divorce scenario. And this is not even the first time Kelly and Mark have joked publicly about what would happen if they ever separated. Earlier, they discussed the idea of divorce on their show and actually suggested that they would probably end up finding their way back to each other. Kelly has joked about what dating again would look like if she and Mark ever split, and her answer was hardly enthusiastic. She has made it clear that the idea of starting over romantically after decades with Mark is not exactly something she's excited about. So their conversations about divorce tend to reveal something interesting. They talk about the hypothetical because they find it funny, not because they appear to be planning it.
In fact, Kelly has also spoken about a very different kind of marriage dealbreaker. In 2025, she explained that she would have a serious problem if Mark constantly needed to know where she was. Kelly said she did not want to track her husband's location and did not want him tracking hers. For her, trust means believing that the person you married is where they said they would be without demanding constant digital proof. The funny part was that Mark had once actually asked her to share her location after she got lost while hiking alone in Colorado. Kelly admitted that particular situation became extremely stressful, but it also demonstrated the difference between everyday tracking and an actual safety emergency. The couple have also been remarkably open about intimacy, communication, and the difficult parts of maintaining a marriage for 3 decades. They have discussed counseling, arguments, personal boundaries, and the reality that even happy couples can have disagreements. Mark has previously acknowledged that intimacy can be an important part of a relationship, while Kelly has been very candid about their different personalities and preferences. Their willingness to talk about these subjects is one reason fans continue to find their marriage so entertaining. They do not pretend that 30 years together means everything is perfect every day. And that may actually be the secret behind their longevity. Kelly and Mark have never tried to sell the public an image of a completely flawless marriage. Instead, they joke about the annoying habits, the disagreements, the different ways they approach life, and the occasional moments when they drive each other crazy. But underneath all of that is a clear sense of loyalty. Mark has repeatedly spoken about how much he respects Kelly, while Kelly continues to describe their marriage as one of the most important decisions she has ever made. Their 3 children have also been a major part of their journey. Michael, Lola, and Joaquin are now adults, meaning Kelly and Mark have entered a very different stage of family life. They spent decades raising their children while simultaneously building demanding careers in entertainment. Michael continued acting, while Kelly became one of the most recognizable faces in daytime television. Eventually, the couple also found themselves working together every day on Live with Kelly and Mark, which creates an entirely new challenge for any married couple. Think about that for a moment. They are not only husband and wife, they are also co-workers, television hosts, parents, and public figures. They spend enormous amounts of time together, and millions of viewers watch them interact. Yet they continue to joke, tease, disagree, and laugh together in front of the cameras. That level of comfort is probably one of the biggest reasons their relationship continues to attract attention. When Kelly rolls her eyes at Mark, or Mark makes another outrageous comment, viewers get a glimpse of a couple who clearly knows each other extremely well. And the public reaction to the latest divorce confession has followed exactly the kind of pattern you would expect. Instead of a serious breakup panic, the story has largely been treated as another hilarious example of Kelly and Mark's unusual marriage dynamic. Fans who already know how much the couple loves Lena immediately understood the joke. The idea that Mark would choose to remain in a completely loveless marriage simply to keep access to the family dog is so exaggerated that it becomes funny, and Kelly responding with "done" only made the moment more memorable. There's also something strangely sweet about the whole exchange. After 30 years together, Mark was essentially declaring that Lena is family in the strongest possible sense. Pets can become deeply connected to a couple's shared history. They are there through quiet mornings, vacations, family celebrations, stressful periods, and ordinary days that eventually become memories. So even though Mark's comment was clearly designed to make Kelly and the audience laugh, the affection behind it is genuine. He loves this dog, and apparently he is prepared to make some very questionable imaginary marital decisions because of her. The bigger story here is that Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos continue to have one of the most recognizable long-term marriages in entertainment. They met while playing fictional lovers, fell in love in real life, broke up briefly, reunited, eloped in Las Vegas, raised 3 children, built separate careers, and eventually became television partners. 30 years after their wedding, they are still sitting next to each other on television and joking about hypothetical divorce scenarios. And somehow, the latest argument is not about who gets the house or the money, it's about who gets the dog. There's no evidence that Kelly and Mark are actually preparing to end their marriage. If anything, their recent public comments suggest the opposite. Their 30th anniversary was filled with affection and reflection, and Mark has continued to describe Kelly as someone who makes him a better person. Kelly has continued to praise their marriage while openly acknowledging that long-term relationships require effort, patience, and plenty of humor. That's why the latest deal breaker should be viewed for what it really is, a funny moment between two people who have spent 30 years learning exactly how to push each other's buttons. So if you came into this story expecting a shocking Hollywood divorce announcement, that's not what happened. Mark Consuelos did not reveal that he and Kelly are separating. He did not announce a breakup. He did not say that their marriage is actually loveless. Instead, he made a wildly entertaining joke that in a hypothetical divorce, his greatest concern would be remaining close to Lena. Kelly immediately accepted the imaginary deal, and together they turned a serious conversation about pet custody into another unforgettable piece of Kelly and Mark television.
And perhaps that is the funniest part of all. 30 years into their marriage, after raising 3 children and building an entire life together, the couple can still sit on television and casually discuss who would get custody of the dog if everything fell apart. Mark apparently wants Lena. Kelly is apparently willing to let him have her. And somehow, that may be the most dramatic divorce settlement we are ever going to get from this couple. For now, the marriage remains intact, the jokes are still flying, and Lena remains one very important member of the Consuelos household. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.